Hello to all of you, and I hope all of you are managing whatever weather you're getting because it depends on where you are. Some of it's really miserable, but it's January. It tends to happen at this time of year, doesn't it? Okay, based on what I had in my, I guess you'd call it the title, um, and especially at this time of year because of New Year's resolutions, I know a lot of people, they create a resolution, they say they're going to do whatever. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get fit. I'm going to clean out my linen closet. I'm going to clean out the drawers in my kitchen, whatever. And then it's about this time that they start getting down on themselves because they didn't do it. For example, let's just take weight because it's the one thing that most of us can, if you don't do it, at least you know somebody who goes through this so you can recognize it. Somebody says that they're going to lose weight. And then by this point in the year, they've probably already done something like sat down and watched Netflix and gone through a bag of Doritos or something, or a half gallon of Haagen-Dazs or something. And then the reaction that most of us have is to beat up on ourselves. We're so miserable. We're so terrible. We're just can't do anything. We don't, and we go on and we go on and we go on and we go on and we go on. Why? Now, yes, I know the immediate reaction is going to be because you're saying that because you said you were going to do something and you didn't. I get that. But my question goes further than that. It's like, why do we do that? What is it that we're accomplishing when we do this? Think about this, folks. Think about the last time you beat yourself up because you didn't do something. Maybe you were going to get up early and go run and you didn't. Maybe you were going to not have the bag of Doritos. Maybe you were going to go clean out that linen closet, whatever it is, and you beat yourself up. Okay, think of the last time you beat yourself up, and the time before that, the time before that, the time before that. Ladies and gentlemen, if beating yourself up and shaming yourself and making yourself feel guilty worked, you'd all be rich, famous, powerful, and you'd have all your dreams come true, probably. Beating yourself up doesn't work. Think about it. If you get on yourself because you're trying to lose weight and you get on yourself because you ate the Doritos or whatever it is you did, and you try to make yourself guilty and shame yourself, did that stop you the next time you did it? No, most likely it didn't. You probably didn't even think about it. You might have said, oh, I'm going to feel bad about this in the morning, and maybe someplace in the back of your head you had that thought, but did it stop you? No. So why do you do it from the standpoint of, is it effective for you? All you're doing is giving your brain and giving yourself negative thoughts about yourself and your abilities and whether or not you can accomplish anything. So if you think about it, let's just say, for the sake of argument, just to start off, at the age of 20, you started beating yourself because you couldn't lose weight, and you're 35 now. That means you've got 15 years of beating yourself up and nothing to show for it other than 15 years of all of these negative comments about yourself that you can't do anything. Ladies and gentlemen, what makes you think you can? When you've been telling yourself all this time that you can't because you're so miserable and incompetent and ugly or overweight or whatever it is you're telling yourself, what makes you think you're going to be able to turn around and get anything done? Does this make sense? I have a feeling a few light bulbs are going off, right? So when I say, you can feel bad because you didn't do something, or, you said you were going to lose weight, or but it's to say that I'm never going to eat ice cream again, or I'm never going to have a drink, or I'm never going to do this, that, or the other is, I think, by and large, really difficult to do. Besides which, I'm not sure that it's really actually necessary. There's a thing in AA that as I understand it correctly, they basically say you don't swear that you'll never have a drink again. You basically say, I'm not going to drink for the next 5 minutes. Or I'm not going to drink for the next hour. If you break all of these things down into short time segments, you're going to be much more able to accomplish whatever it is that you say you want to do than if you try and say, I'm never going to do it again for the rest of my life. Because as most of us know, generally speaking, that doesn't work. Now, there are going to be times in which we say we're never going to do it again, and we don't. But more often than not, we say something like we're never going to do it again, and within 3 days, we've done it already. That generally doesn't work. Does this make sense? Do you see where I'm coming from on this? So what you might want to do is take a look more. Excuse me. Let me go along with the idea of going back to what I just said about not doing it for the next 5 minutes. If you're wanting to say off of a particular food, if you just say, okay, I'm not going to eat that for the next 5 minutes and get through the next 5 minutes and then repeat it. And so you give yourself these small steps and you look at the next 5 minutes, you're more likely to manage the next 5 minutes or the next hour or maybe even the next day, depending on what the item is, than if you are to tell yourself, I'm never going to do this again for as long as I live. The other issue, which is in a sense stronger, shall we say, is to think in terms of what small action, small, teeny tiny, little bitty action can you take that's going to get you toward the goal you say you want. Okay? Let's say in this case, you want to clean out your linen closet. Okay, so maybe you just don't say, I'm going to clean out the linen closet. I'm just going to clean out this one shelf, or I'm going to clean out this one section. And just you finish that specific task. When you give yourself the whole enchilada, first of all, you look at it and think, I don't want to do that. Second thing, you've got all those things going on. Remember the stuff in the back of your head when you're telling yourself you can't do this and you're such a, whatever, because you can't. You've got all those things coming back to haunt you, and you can't do it because you've got all of those telling you what makes you think you can do this because you can't do it. You've never done it before, all that stuff. If you just tell yourself, I'm going to clean out one shelf, I'm going to clean out this one section, or I'm going to get rid of these old towels or something like that, small sections, you're more likely to accomplish that because generally speaking, you probably don't have a bunch of all that other stuff back here telling yourself you can't do it. So if you're going to say something like, I'm going to get rid of every bottle of medication that's got an expiration date that's in 2018. Okay. You could probably go ahead and do that without any problem whatsoever because you don't have all of that stuff in the back of your head saying you can't do this. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Okay. So what I'm going to challenge you to do is to think in terms of pick something that you're trying to accomplish for this particular year. I don't care if it's losing weight, if it's getting fit, cleaning out the linen drawer, whatever. And think in terms of some small steps that you could do that helps you get there. Maybe, again, using the linen closet, maybe you decide that each day you're going to go in and you're going to take and remove one thing, or you're going to straighten up two things, or you're going to look at the expiration dates of 6 bottles. Mark it down, get rid of one, whatever. Small step. And I would say use the habit tracker that you've got in my email and just mark it off that you did it and then do it again tomorrow. You're more likely to do the small steps because a couple of things. A, there's nothing in the back of your head telling you that you can't do this. B, it's a small step that may take maybe 2 minutes. And even if you're totally busy, you can find 2 minutes, generally speaking, to get rid of, say, one washcloth or look at the expiration date on one bottle. And look at it from that point and build up over the course of time on that thing. Again, this is where the habit tracker comes in handy. So you want to get the habit tracker and just mark it off. So when you get to say, 2 weeks, depending on whatever it is that you're doing, try and make it a little larger. Because you're going to do two shelves you're going to clean out or something along that line. So these are actions. Now, when it comes to something like food, with the Doritos, you could say that, okay, the first obvious one sort of depends on your living situation. Because if you're living by yourself, then just don't buy the Doritos when you go to the grocery store because you're asking for trouble. If you live by yourself or you live with somebody else and you're the one that's responsible for the groceries and you buy them, you're just asking for trouble. If you don't buy them, then they're not in the house. You're not going to eat them. Okay. But if you're in the house and you've got a bunch of other people and maybe your kids just love Doritos because you do too, maybe tell yourself that what you're going to do is say, get a snack bag and put a few Doritos in the snack bag, and that's all you're going to have. And let everybody else have the big bag. Now, again, this may not work for you because of a variety of circumstances, but what I'm trying to get for you to do is to think in terms of what are the small steps you could do to start taking action on some of these goals that you want to do. Several years ago, when I went to the doctor and they told me I had some blood work that indicated that I was going into diabetes, and I said, I'm not going to do this. And I decided to go on a diet. And I gave this a lot of thought. And I allowed myself one cookie for dessert every night. Just one. The benefit of this was that I knew I was allowing myself a cookie. Now, most times when you're going to go on a diet, you can't do something like that because it's, all the calories, it's a cookie and all that sort of stuff. And people say, you can't do this. I allowed it to myself. So I knew that I could have a cookie. Now, if there was something coming up and I was going to go someplace else and out for dinner or something, I wouldn't have my cookie. I'd go out and have some dessert that I'd splurge on someplace else. I allowed it to myself at periods during the week. So it wasn't as if I was depriving myself. I was just limiting myself. It was much easier to sit there and say, okay, I'm just going to have one cookie than it is to say, I can't eat any of them. You'd be surprised at how different that feels in your body when you do this. Okay? Because if you feel like I can't eat anything, sweets are all gone for the rest of my life, that's overpowering. You follow where I'm coming from? Think in terms of pick one goal right at this moment, just one thing, and something that you think you can do really easily. Don't try and do the worst thing in the case scenario. You don't want to do this right at the moment. Pick something that's relatively easy, write it down that you don't want to do. Then think in terms of one small step, one small action that you can do to take toward achieving that goal. If you're trying to eat less calories, what's something that you can leave out? Maybe you can do without a particular food or a second helping or some such thing like that, whatever it is, what works out for you. And then document that. And then build on that once you get that going for like 2 weeks or something, depending on how it works for you and what that particular item is, and build on that. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you're not going to have a second helping. Then maybe you got that down, and 3 weeks later you say, okay, I'm not going to make as big a helping as I do. You're still going to give it to yourself. You're just not going to give yourself as much. Okay. And then you work on that. So you work on that slowly, and you're going to tell me, okay, this is going to take forever. Folks, let's think about this. It's going to take forever, or it's not going to happen at all. Which would you rather have? Because if you're downing on yourself and telling yourself, how stupid you are and how guilty you are and how you're no good and you're such a lousy think or something like that because you can't do it, you're never going to get anywhere. So you can just keep redoing that New Year's resolution every year or every month or whatever it is that you do. Or you can start seeing yourself, because of the habit tracker, that you start seeing yourself accomplish these goals. Now, the next thing, and the last thing, and then I'll shut up. If you fall off the wagon and you blow it, don't beat yourself up. Just say, okay, I did whatever's going on. Maybe I had a headache. Maybe things were going on. I don't know, but I'm going to start again tomorrow. And start again tomorrow. And I'll talk more about this later. I hope this makes sense and you can see the point. So my point is ask yourself, why should you beat yourself up? What good does it do? What do you accomplish? And the answer probably is nothing. So why do it? Okay, we'll chat with you later. Let me know what you think. Share it with anybody and see what they find, if that's helpful. And as I said, we'll chat with you later. Bye.